So what I'm doing, I'm going to be discussing some of the things, questions you have. This is your class. You learn from a person sharing information. You learn from your parent. You're going to learn from me as a state certified instructor. You're going to learn from your mom. How does she turn the wheel? Does she palm it with one hand? Uh, does she throw underhand? Does your dad drive with your knee? Does your mom blow yellow lights? Does your dad slow down and try to stop? Is your mother aggressive driver? Is your dad road rage? Both of your parents chill drivers? Is your uncle a really fast driver? Is your sister super slow? Is your oldest brother super fast? You're going to learn from all these things. You're going to learn from watching me because I teach you. You're going to learn from looking at social media because driving is an important part of our lifestyle. Most teens want to learn how to drive a car. Most. Some don't. Post-COVID. We're done with COVID, so we can't use that as an excuse. You have to have the perspective to get out there and drive, and you have to have the perspective. Give me 1 second. All right. So you have to have that perspective to get out there and drive. And I can't do it for you. You have to want to do it. And some of you will have accidents and that'll pause you for a couple months. Some of you will do fine. Most of you will do fine. If you don't take it seriously, you could end up having an accident. We know your age group tends to die sooner than 21 to 34. We know that the 21 to 34, right around 25 to 35, they tend to be good drivers. You made it about 10 years. It takes 10 years for all of you to become a master at driving. If you're 14, that's 24. If you're 16, that's 26. If you're 17, that's 27. You can't rush 10 years. If you want to be a good video gamer, you've got to practice every day. You got to practice by yourself on the server. You got to practice with other people who are terrible. You got to practice with other people who are better. Because I used to be at the pro level. You have to practice. If you don't want to put in the time, you'll play casual and you're like, okay. If you want to be a good driver, you have to get out in the rain, sleet, snow, fog, heavy traffic by yourself, early in the morning, at night. But if you don't drive, it's going to take you longer to feel comfortable. I can't make you feel comfortable in a 6-hour lesson or a 8-hour lesson or a 10-hour lesson. It varies from the United States and around the world. Most organized, industrialized countries, people drive. Okay, UK, Australia, India, Asia, Japan, and the United States. So we want to go ahead and just answer these questions and really educate you. And that's how I want you to look at it before you have to do your work. And I think that's good. And I try to give you an honest perspective. I'm going from the bottom up. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's driver's ed related, but what are some of the tips of cars and buying cars? Okay, very good question. Most cars can last over 100,000 miles. That's a good thing. If people change the oil, okay? How do people not change the oil? They think it's going to last forever. When your car doesn't run right, when it doesn't start right, it doesn't sound right. I keep saying right. You will learn how your car sounds. You will know a good sound in your car, kind of squeak, go over a bump, or a bad bump or a bad squeak. You need to be changing oil anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 miles. We have high quality oils today. You don't have to change them every 3,000 or 5,000. Now, if you live on a dirt road, you live 5 miles out of town, you're on a dirt road, then you drive highway traffic, you might need to change the oil a little bit more because when your car breathes in air, you have an air filter, consider it like a mask in our nose. We have little hairs. Hey, Gabby, I hope I'm getting your brain stimulated. That's all. That's all. I'm just trying to get you stimulated. This is really important. And if you care about your car, you'll listen. If you don't, then you're going to have repairs. So if you live on a dirt road, your car's breathing dirt. You need to change your oil more frequently. If you don't live on a dirt road, then you don't have to change it. So you need to look at, do I live in a dusty environment? Do I live in an environment where maybe I live by the ocean, maybe there's salt in the air, right? I'm just giving you some information. Do I live up in a mountainous area where it's really clean, thin air, right? Do I do a lot of highway driving? Do I do a lot of stop and go? Stop and go is really bad for the engine because it's always going up to an RPM, going down. So do your own research. Mid-sized cars are good for teams. You want to have a lot of metal around you. You don't want a small subcompact. Most of your parents have SUVs. Most of your parents have larger vehicles. But if you get a smaller vehicle, you get what you get. Okay? You can't be picky and say, I want the biggest car in the house. No. I want the safest car in the house. You're not paying this bill. But it depends on your family's financial situation, how many cars they have. Maybe you have a grandpa or someone that's got a 2010, a 2012, a 2015, right? Reparations are important, but let's reparate yourself. Don't ask for a handout from the government. You need to do research, whether it's a 2000, a 1997, do research. If you get a car, you get a larger one, good for you. And you better take care of it because most of you will have 1 or 2 cars until you moved out, you're out of college, and you're doing it on your own. So it depends on how often you drive. When should you change your oil? Example, if you go from home to school, your car never really warms up. That's bad for your engine because the oil is not getting up to operating temperature and you have a lot of wear. Example, when you first start up your car, if you hit the gas and go down the street, you're probably going to blow the motor up. You need to allow the oil to get up to temperature to circulate smoothly through the engine. Thick oils protect engines once they're warm up. Thin oils, I drag race. I have a racing application specifically for going down a quarter mile, 1,320 feet as fast as I can. I need thin oil. Okay, that doesn't take away horsepower. I have to let the motor warm up to about 100 degrees. I'm using science. If it gets too hot, the oil gets thin. You understand at the top end of the track, if my car hits 240, 250, 260, the oil would get really thin and I'll lose oil pressure and I could blow up my motor. Your car is not that specific. You want a regular weight oil that will protect it in the winter, summer, spring. Some of your parents have a Corvette. Yeah, right? And they use the best oil for their engine. Read the automotive manufacturers. Okay, so I went over oil changes. I went over mileage. What is a good mileage for a car to drive? Any car. A car that has 70,000, 60,000. Once the car reaches 70,000, it's pretty reliable, right? It won't break down. You're going to have to do brakes. That's normal. Thank you, G, for writing it down. You're going to have to do tires. That's normal. You're going to have to do air filter, oil filter. Normal. You might have to change the cabin filter inside the car. If your car stinks all the time, then you need to find out where the cabin filter is and change it. If you have a pet, people have dandruff, pet have dandruff. People pass gas in the car. All of us pass gas. Don't say you don't. Some of you are passing gas right now. But you have to take care of your car. Oil changes are probably the most important thing, and then the tires are the second most important thing. You don't have to necessarily buy new tires, but you want to have good tires that have 75% tread. They're not cracked. They're not dry rotted. You can look at those and tell. Next, when driving down a steep hill, how much brake? If you keep riding your brake, you're going to burn up the brakes. You want to downshift into 3. When you downshift into 3, you're using the transmission's capability to downshift into lower gear. The Impala we drive, I believe, is a 4-speed transmission. The 2014 SRT Jeep that I used to have, it was an 8-speed transmission. If I'm driving about 35 or 40, it's at about 5th gear or 6th gear. The higher you go in gears, the less RPMs on the motor, the better mileage. Why do you think Fords have 10-speed transmissions? Okay? The more gears you have, the more efficient the motor is. Okay? How late can we drive with our learner's permit? I believe it is 10 o'clock or 11. During this week, we'll look at whatever driver must know. But if you have someone over 21, yes. But I think around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you're done. I'm talking to 15-year-olds. I'm talking to 16-year-olds. You have no business hanging out till 11:30 at night. You're going to fall asleep at the wheel. You won't be your best. Example, if I teach and drive every single night, 8:30 to 10:30, by about Thursday, I'm really going to be tired. if you can rest a little bit more and get 7 hours sleep or 7.5, you're going to feel so rejuvenated and you're going to drive well, right? Usually between 3:40 and about 8:40, that's our peak time, okay? Because I've driven many of you at 8:30. You're tired, you're rubbing your eyes, I'm rubbing my eyes, can I get a coffee? So you got to try to get your rest. What is inertia and what does that do with driving? Inertia, you're going around a curve. Inertia will pull you straight. And if you don't go slow, inertia will pull you off the road. I've had kids go too fast on a curve, they go into the ditch because they're going too fast. They are hugging the right lip of the road. So you want to go slow. Inertia does pull you off of the road. Thank you, G, for those great questions. Not saying the rest of yours aren't great, but I can tell. How does someone hydroplane while driving? How do you stop the vehicle hydroplane? Well, you go too fast. So if you're going too fast in the rain, you're going to hydroplane. We drove in the rain this weekend. It was a very heavy downpour. We learned a lot. We educated ourselves. You want to drive in the grooves of the road. And you want to drive in the tracks of other cars. Could be on the test. Just giving you some tips. Hey, this is test prep too. Drive in the grooves of other cars. You want to reduce your speed by about 10 miles an hour, right? To go slower. But some people don't listen. They think, hey, I got a big truck. I can do what I want. I got a fast car. We'll go ahead and crash, right? Because some people drive 10 under, 12 under, 15 under. You lift your foot off the gas so you don't slam into someone. You don't lose control on the curve. Why do you use cruise control? Okay, let's pretend we're driving here to Disney World. We're driving from here to Texas. If you're on the open interstate, you drive about 70, you push a button, you activate it, you can take your foot off the gas. You don't have to hold the gas pedal. You don't use cruise control in heavy stop and go traffic. You don't use cruise control in downtown traffic. Cruise control is just that, for cruising on an open interstate or open highway. Plus, after about 20 miles an hour, your cruise control will deactivate. Now, some of your parents' cars have adaptive cruise control. As people pick up speed, the car will pick up speed. As people slow down, the car will slow down. But sometimes it's not as smart. It's kind of dumb adaptive cruise control. If someone suddenly stops, the computer might not be able to sense that, right? If someone suddenly picks up, the computer might not be able to sense that. But these driving aids will help you become a better driver, but you still need to learn how to drive. And that's what's important. I'm not against technology. I love self-driving cars. I love adaptive cruise control. I love lane departure. I love having a car pull power out in case you're spinning. Okay, ESP. That might be on your test. I'm just throwing you some tips. So cars are smarter, but you need to be able to drive without those aids, because in the future, I can see your kids. How did you drove a car? Really? We don't have drivers here anymore. I just had my AI robot drive me everywhere. That's why you don't know how to drive. What do you mean? When you guys drove 150 years ago, there were accidents. So what's going to happen in the future? We're going to have AI people taking us around. They won't run lights. They don't road rage. They stop at every yellow light. If you don't believe me, we could stop at a yellow light. And that's what we did. 7 to 10 cars run yellow lights. What if someone walks out? What if a car pulls out? AI doesn't run yellow lights. And if you want more, just text me later. I found a longitudinal study, and it predicts, if I have to kill someone, the AI will say, well, is it an older man? Is it a younger family? Okay, there's a lot of things that go in. You can do your own research. You guys are intelligent. Is it illegal to do a U-turn? No. You have to look for the signs. If there's a prohibitory sign, a line through, and a circle with the U-turn is prohibited. You can't do it. So you have to look. If there are no signs, I can make a U-turn. How do you know if you have the right of way on a roundabout? You yield. If traffic is already in the roundabout, you yield, let the cars leave the roundabout. So you have to look. And we know beginning drivers, and I'm reading this, beginning drivers have a difficult time understanding right of way and yielding at intersections. That's going to be the most confusing thing for you until you know the rules. The first car there is the first car to leave. If two cars come together at the same time, the car on the right. I'm telling you this now because when you're driving with your parents, they won't have a brake. They won't have a mirror. If you go in too fast and crash, honey, you went too fast. I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't know. You only get one time, so you might as well learn the right way. How do I write questions if I already passed my tests and I finish all my drives and pack? You listen, you get good information, and then I'll have you share. There's always work to do. What are the proper steps for passing a vehicle? We actually went over it. First, you make sure it's legal. Do you have enough room? You turn on your mirror. You turn on your mirror. You check your mirror, your blind spot. You turn on your blinker. You accelerate past the vehicle, and when it's clear, the front end of the vehicle needs to be in your rear mirror. When it's clear, you turn on your blinker, you look over your blind spot, your shoulder, you get back over. You will do these steps. You will have questions on the test about this. That's why I like it when we go over information on the test and we use Quizzy. Is it easier to fill your wheels, hydroplane, or slide on ice, which is harder to recover from? I like the question. My student is now visualizing. Good for you, Quincy. It's just like you on your bike. It's just like you walking on ice. You slipped and fell on your butt before, whoopee! Or you slipped and caught yourself, but imagine your car or imagine a bike. So you want to lift your foot off the brake, steer where you want to go. And hopefully you can catch it before you hit the guardrail, hit another car. Example will be you're driving to school, you stopped late, it's icy and slick in the morning, you bump into a car heavy. It's your friend, they're like, it's okay. It's not okay. So recovery is reducing speed. I would say recovery is learning. Here's the deal. If there's ice on your windshield, it's probably ice on the road. If you have to scrape your windshield because of ice, there's probably ice on the road. That's how you know the temperature is, but none of you won't. Some of you will look at your phone. Like on my computer, it says 64 degrees windy. If this was in the wintertime, it might say minus 10. Anything under 32 degrees will freeze, particularly on bridges and overpasses. I like the questions. When do you typically go in a roundabout? It depends on the road you're on. There are more and more roundabouts coming because they're safer, less chance to have an accident. They are more fuel efficient because no one is stopping. People are always moving. You will see more roundabouts in the next 5 to 10 years, whether we're here in the United States or in the UK or in Australia. There are just more roundabouts coming, and there's going to be less traffic lights. Okay, let's get a few more questions in. My opinion on best car brand, I can't be biased. How about the safest car brand? All of you should Google the safest car brand. You're going to have the Hondas come up. You're going to have the Mercedes-Benz come up. Do your own research if you don't believe me. Hondas are known for safety. If you have a Honda, raise your hand. If your parents have a Honda, raise your hand. Anyone? Honda? There's one. Okay. Typically, people buy trucks. Trucks have their advantages. They're heavier, they're bigger, but you can lose control in the truck. You could roll over your truck. Okay, Jeeps are nice, but they have a high center of gravity. You can roll over. The Ford Bronco's awesome. I'm not hating on the Bronco, but they can flip. Okay, the Jeep Commanders, awesome vehicles, but they can flip. So you always have to worry about that. They can tip over. So you want to find a vehicle, do your research. What are the safest vehicles for teens? The Hondas, the Mercedes, some of the other foreign vehicles that are not coming to mind. Why? They last longer than 100,000 miles. They don't need a lot of repairs. Some cars have transmission problems. Like right now, the Fords are being recalled because there's something in the steering wheel, right? A few years ago, General Motors had a recall because of the airbag. It would explode on you, right? So you have to start, well, I'm a kid. Why do I look up that stuff? If you want to drive, you're going to start looking up car stuff. If you want to start a YouTube channel, you're going to start looking up YouTube stuff. If you want to be a good gamer, you're going to start looking up gamer stuff. If I want to be a better driver's ed instructor, I'm going to start looking up how to provide better stuff for my driver's ed instructors. So once you start driving, you're going to do your research. Your parents may give you a car that's a piece of crap, but that's all you're going to get. And it kind of bumps, it scrapes, it sounds bad, the cat lived in there, but you don't care, it's your car, and you're going to be thankful, right? What should someone do if they're trying to drive away from someone road raging? but stopped at an intersection. I think we already talked about this. Number one, leave room. If you're right on someone's back and they start fighting, you're going to catch a bunch. Leave room. Never be on top of cars. Always have an out. If you're pumping gas, don't just pump gas and look blind. Look around your, this is me pumping gas. Look around your surroundings while you're pumping gas. Is someone trying to walk up on you? Is an old lady saying, hey, can you pass me the windshield wiper? Is a man trying to walk up on you? Is a lady trying to walk up on you? Look around. Don't be naive in your own area. It's called self-defense. Always look around your area. People are very vulnerable. And if you look vulnerable and you're on your phone, you're not paying attention, they're going to take your car keys. If you leave your car running, when you go inside, they're going to take your car. Okay? I saw something, a Federal Express person, a UPS person, don't leave your car running. Always leave an out at intersections. Check your mirrors when you stop. That was a good question. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this. I really appreciate you. And let's keep it moving. Okay, I want to keep it moving right now. We have